Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 7. The Shaunak Rishi asked Suta Goswami, after Narad Muni gave instructions to Shla Vyasadeva and Narad Muni left, what did Vyasadeva do? So we have been hearing that how Vyasadeva, he engaged in devotional service, he sat in meditation, and he's able to see Krishna himself. He's able to see Maya Devi. He's able to see the conditioned living entities. He's able to see why we are suffering because of the influence of the illusory energy. And he can see the remedy of the suffering, that is engaging in devotional service, which begins by hearing and chanting about the Lord. So continuing, yasyam vaishruyamanayam
Yasyam Vaishruyamanayam
Krishne Param Purushe
Krishne Paramapurushe
Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsa
Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsha
Shoka Moha Bhayapaha.
Shoka Mohabhayapaha. Translation. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Purport. There are various senses of which the ear is the most effective. This sense works even when a man is deep asleep. One can protect himself from the hands of an enemy while awake, but while asleep, one is protected by the ear only. The importance of hearing is mentioned here in connection with attaining the highest perfection of life, namely getting free from three material pangs. Everyone is full of lamentation at every moment. He is after the marriage of illusory things, and he is always afraid of his supposed enemy. These are the primary symptoms of the material disease, and it is definitely suggested herein that simply by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one gets attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And as soon as this is effected, the symptoms of material disease disappear. Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead, and in this statement, the all-perfect personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna is clearly confirmed.
So Suta Goswami is saying that simply by hearing Bhagavatam, gives rise to bhakti in our heart. And lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness goes away. So here, Prabhupada is pointing in the purport, when a man is deep asleep, how do you wake him up? You call him by his name. Oh, like get up, there's some danger, get up. Then the man can hear it and get up. So similarly, we the soul, we are sleeping. So how can we revive our connection with the Supreme Lord? Is by hearing. By hearing. So what is this? Here we are hearing. What is our condition? What is the symptoms of the material disease that we are all going through?
Full of lamentation.
Yeah.
We are always
lamenting.
afraid. Yeah.
Always afraid. Yeah. The lamenting, we are always afraid, and we are always hankering, for something or the other. There's lamentation. The mirage of illusory things is we always hankering, we want something or the other, we always regretting something, we always afraid something bad might happen. All this is our material disease. So this can be cured simply by hearing Bhagavatam, because by hearing Bhagavatam, one gets attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And as soon as this is effective, as soon as one begins hearing, one gets attached to that degree, the lamentation, the hankering, the fear subside. So Vyasadeva is seeing this. He's seeing the Supreme Lord, he's seeing the illusory energy, he's seeing the living entities, he's seeing how the living entities are captured by this illusion, and he's seeing the remedy also, devotional service.
The ultimate result of devotional service is to develop genuine love for the Supreme Personality. Love is a word which is often used in relation with man and woman, and love is the only word that can be properly used to indicate the relation between Lord Krishna and the living entities. The living entities are mentioned as Prakriti in the Bhagavad Gita, and in Sanskrit, Prakriti is a feminine object. The Lord is always described as the Param Purusha, or the Supreme Male Personality. Thus, the affection between the Lord and the living entities is something like that between the male and the female. Therefore, the term love of Godhead is quite appropriate.
So the goal, we are advised, engage in devotional service, engage in bhakti. What's the goal? Prema. Prema Pumartho Mahan. Krishna Prema, love for God. That is what is the result. That's the desired result, ultimate result. That's what we are all searching for. Love for God. So Prabhupada is pointing out, usually this term love is meant to explain a relationship between a man and woman, the attachment between man and woman. So how we can explain it here? The living souls, we may be, some of us, in male bodies and some maybe in female bodies, but we are all Prakriti. The only Purusha, the only male is the Supreme Lord Krishna, and we are all his energy, living entities, whether we may be right now in the body of a male or female. So we are all Prakriti. And in this way, Prabhupada is saying, is like that. That is the affection between the Lord and the living entity, as there is an affection between man and woman.
Loving devotional service to the Lord begins with hearing about the Lord. There is no difference between the Lord and the subject matter heard about him. The Lord is absolute in all respects, and thus there is no difference between him and the subject matter heard about him. Therefore, hearing about him means immediate contact with him by the process of vibration of the transcendental sound. And the transcendental sound is so effective that it acts at once by removing all material affections mentioned above. As mentioned before, a living entity develops a sort of complexity by material association, and the illusory engagement of the material body is accepted as an actual fact. Under such false complexity, the living beings under different categories of life become illusioned in different ways. Even in the most developed stage of human life, the same illusion prevails in the form of many isms and divides the loving relation with the Lord, and thereby divides the loving relation between man and man. By hearing the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this false complexity of materialism is removed, and real peace in society begins, which politicians aspire for so eagerly in so many political situations. The politicians want a peaceful situation between man and a man, and nation, but at the same time, because of too much attachment for material domination, there is illusion and fearfulness. Therefore, the politicians' peace conference cannot bring about peace in society. It can only be done by hearing the subject matter described in the Srimad Bhagavatam about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The foolish politicians may go on holding peace and summit conferences for hundreds of years, but they will fail to achieve success until we reach the stage of re establishing our lost relation with Krishna. The illusion of accepting the body as the self will prevail, and thus the fearfulness will also prevail. As for the validity of Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from revealed scriptures. And there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from personal experiences of devotees in various places like Vrindavan, Navadvip, and Puri. Even in the Kaumudi dictionary, the synonyms of Krishna are given as the son of Yashoda and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. The conclusion is that simply by hearing the Vedic literature Srimad Bhagavatam, one can have direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and thereby one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusion, and fearfulness. These are practical tests for one who has actually given a submissive hearing to the readings of Srimad Bhagavatam.
So then Srila Prabhupada is continuing to explain in the purport that devotional service begins by hearing. Shravanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then going on, so on, so forth. So when we hear about the Lord, his pastimes, his glories, is himself. There's no difference because the Lord is on the absolute platform. In the material world, the name and the object is different. When we say water, we can't actually taste the water. Our thirst doesn't get quenched. But when we are saying Krishna, when we are hearing the pastimes of Krishna, is Krishna himself. That's why Prabhupada is saying there's no difference between him and the subject matter heard about him. The Lord is absolute. So when we are hearing about him, means we are being with him through this sound, transcendental sound vibration. Just like when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's the Lord himself. And then this transcendental sound vibration is so powerful. What happens? It takes away our material disease. What is the material disease? That we are thinking we are the body. We are thinking we are the body, but it's just an illusion. And because we are thinking we are the body, we are always lamenting, we are always hankering, we are always fearful. So by hearing about the Lord, our this material disease gets cured. And we can give up this hankering and fearfulness and lamentation. And then we can become peaceful. So Prabhupada is saying that, modern man, we are trying so many different ways to achieve peace, but we are not successful. In fact, currently also we can see what's the state of the world affairs. There's wars going on, unrest, protests, different things, because people are so fearful. There's so much lamentation, so much hankering. So the real way that a person can become peaceful individually and collectively as a society, as a nation, as all the nations, is by hearing Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam, it helps us go beyond this illusion. Right now, we are just thinking we are the body, too attached to the body. And so because of this, we are in illusion, we are always fearful. But by submissively hearing Bhagavatam, which describes all the subject matter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Gradually, our this illusion goes away. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord. The Vedas are declaring Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Krishna himself is declaring himself as Supreme Lord in Bhagavad Gita. All the great authorities are declaring him to be the Supreme Lord. Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, Lord Brahma, there's so many devotees are declaring declaring Krishna to be the Supreme Lord. By personal experience, they've seen him. And Prabhupada is saying in Vrindavan, Navadvip Puri, there's so much evidence is saying that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Even Kaumudi Dictionary is saying, describes Krishna as the son of Yashoda and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the Kaumudi Dictionary is describing him. So by hearing from Bhagavatam, we can have direct connection with Krishna. And this is how we can give up this illusion that we are the body. We can be situated in our real position of loving relationship with him, with God. And so practically Prabhupada is saying that one who is submissively hearing Bhagavatam can feel in their own personal lives that they'll become more and more peaceful. The lamentation and hankering will gradually subside. Fear will gradually subside. Illusion will gradually subside. Any questions? Comments?
No, good.
Okay. So we can see the importance of hearing Bhagavatam personally, individually, collectively to bring about peace in the society at large, to help us overcome our lamentation, our suffering, our miseries, and to revive our loving relationship with Krishna. Sa Samhitam Bhagavatim
The Samhitam Bhagavatam
Ritvanukramya Chatmajam
Tritvanukramya Chatmajam
Shukam Adhyapayam Asha
Sukham Adhyapayam Asa
Nivriti Niratam Munihi.
Nivriti Niratam Munihi. Translation. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Sukadev Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentation on the Brahma Sutras compiled by the same author. This Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra is meant for those who are already engaged in self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. Although it is especially meant for the Paramhansas or those who are totally engaged in self-realization, it works into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. Worldly men are all engaged in sense gratification. But even such men will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. Sukadev Goswami was a liberated soul from the very beginning of his birth, and his father taught him Srimad Bhagavatam. Amongst mundane scholars, there is some diversity of opinion as to the date of compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, however, certain from the text of the Bhagavatam that it was compiled before the disappearance of King Parikshit and after the departure of Lord Krishna. When Maharaj Parikshit was ruling the world as the king of VedasVerse, he chastised the personality of Kali. According to revealed scriptures and astrological calculation, the age of Kali is in its 5000th year. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Puranas were compiled before Mahabharata. That is an estimation of the date of the compilation of the different Vedic literatures. The synopsis of Srimad Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marg. The path of Pravritti Marg was condemned by Narada. That path is the natural inclination for all conditioned souls. The theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is the cure of materialistic disease of the human being, or stopping completely the pangs of material existence.
So, Suta Goswami is continuing that after Vyasadeva, he compiled the Bhagavatam. He understood the remedy is Bhagavatam, devotional service, hearing about the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he compiled the Bhagavatam. After he compiled it, he taught to his son, who was already liberated. So Bhagavatam is very relished by those who are liberated, the Paramhamsas. They take great pleasure in narrating Bhagavatam. Those who are already self-realized, they can really feel the bliss of Bhagavatam. But Bhagavatam also is meant for us, conditioned souls. It helps to work in our heart, to clean all the effects of passion and ignorance in our heart. So we can see that Bhagavatam is for everyone. Those who are already liberated, those who are Paramhamsas, they take great joy and great bliss in hearing Bhagavatam and relishing Bhagavatam. And conditioned people helps like a cure for the material disease, working in the depths of the heart where all the passion and ignorance is there. So Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. It's a natural commentary. Srila Vyasadeva, he compiled all the Vedas. Then, because the Vedas were so vast, he put them in the form of sutras. And then he could understand at the age of Kali, there would hardly be anyone to be able to understand the sutra. So, as a commentary on the sutras, he wrote the Bhagavatam. So, the Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedas, of all the scriptures. So, Prabhupada is saying that some people might, wonder kind of when was Bhagavatam compiled. It was compiled before Maharaj Parikshit died and after Lord Krishna left this earth. After Lord Krishna departed. So when we are going to hear that when Parikshit Maharaj was the ruler, he saw the personality of Kali and he personally chastised the personality of Kali. So Prabhupada is saying Bhagavatam was spoken around 5,000 years ago. That's when the Kali Yuga has started, 5,000 years ago. Before Bhagavatam, Mahabharata was written already. Vyasadeva had already compiled the Mahabharata before he wrote the Bhagavatam. Before the Mahabharata, the Puranas were already written by him. So Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marg. Nivritti Marg to help us give up all these worldly attachments. This path is recommended by Narad Muni, and by hearing Bhagavatam, that's the cure of the materialistic disease. The disease is that we are thinking we are the body. And because of that, We undergo so much suffering, so much misery. And so the prescription that is given, just like an expert doctor, he diagnoses the disease and then he prescribes the medicine, the cure. So the disease is this materialistic disease, thinking that we are the body. And the symptoms are lamentation, hankering, affliction, fearfulness, illusion. And the cure is hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. Is that okay?
Yes.
Shaunaka Vacha
Savanaka Vacha
Sava Nivriti Nirata
Sarvai Nivriti Nirata
Sarvatropekshako Munihi
Sarvatra Pekshako Munihi
Kasya Va Bhratim Etam
Kasyava Bhratim Etam
Atma Rama Samabhyasat.
Atma Rama Samabhyasat. Translation. Sri Saunakas asked Suta Goswami. Sri Sukadev Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Purport. For the people in general, the highest perfection of life is to cease from material activities and be fixed on the path of self-realization. Those who take pleasure in sense enjoyment or those who are fixed in material bodily welfare work are called karmis. Out of thousands and millions of such karmis, one may become an Atmarama by self-realization. Atma means self and Arama means to take pleasure. Everyone is searching after the highest pleasure, but the standard of pleasure of one may be different from the standard of another. Therefore, the standard of pleasure enjoyed by the karmis is different from that of the Atmaramas. The Atmaramas are completely indifferent to material enjoyment in every respect. Srila Sukadev Goswami had already attained that stage, and still he was attracted to undergo the trouble of studying the great Bhagavatam literature. This means that Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study even for the Atmaramas, who have surpassed all the studies of Vedic knowledge.
So because we were hearing that, okay, by hearing Bhagavatam, one can give up this bodily conception of life. One can give up lamentation, overcome lamentation, illusion, all the misery. So then Shaunak Muni is asking Sutta Goswami that Sukadev Goswami is already self-realized. So he's Atmaram, means he's already understood he's not the body, he's the soul. He's already understood it. So for sure he's feeling the pleasure of the soul. He's not feeling the material pangs, the miseries of the body, as we were saying, all the lamentation and the fearfulness, the illusion, the hankering. Then, if he's already self realized, he's understood he's not the body, he's the soul, so he's experiencing happiness in that position, then why is he taking so much endeavor to study Bhagavatam? Because Bhagavatam, it's a vast literature, right? So, see, this is a question. So then Prabhupada is saying that we can see that even though Sukadev Goswami was a liberated soul, yet he was so attracted to Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is so great, is so nectarian, so blissful that it even attracts the hearts of those who are liberated. So it means that Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study. Graduate study is to understand that we are not the body, we are the soul. So then once one understands we are the soul, then what to do? Hear Bhagavatam. It's postgraduate study, even for people who have understood that they are not the body, they are the soul. This is how we can understand from here. Here Prabhupada is saying everyone is seeking for pleasure. Somebody is seeking pleasure from the body. It's called karmi. And the one who's seeking pleasure, understanding I'm the soul, that's the Atmaram. So Bhagavatam is for everyone. Sutta Vacha
Sutta Uvacha
Atma Ramascha Munayo
Atmaramascha Munayo
Nirgrantha Api Urukrame
Nirgrantha Api Urukrame
Kurvanti Ahaitukim Bhaktim
Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim
Itam Bhuta Guno Harihi.
Itam Bhuta Guno Harihi. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atmaramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this Atma Rama sloka very vividly before his chief devotee, Srila Sanatan Goswami. He points out 11 factors in the sloka, namely Atma Rama, Munaya, Nirgrantha, Api, Cha, Urukrama, Kurvanti, Ahetukim, Bhaktim, Itham Bhuta Guna, and Hari. According to Vishwa Prakasha Sanskrit Dictionary, there are 7 synonyms for the word Atma, which are as follows: Brahman, the absolute truth; body, mind, endeavor, endurance, intelligence, and personal habits.
So Prabhupada in his purport is pointing out that this Atmaram verse was explained by Lord Chaitanya first to Sanatan Goswami, and he explained it in so many different ways. He also explained this Atmaram verse to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So here, Sutta Goswami is saying that the Atmaram is one who is understood he's not the body, he's the soul. So because he's understood he's the soul, he is no more having this, as we said, the material disease. So there is no symptoms of lamentation, fearfulness, there is no suffering, there's no hankering. He's already understood he is the soul. Yet, such a self-realized person, he also desires to engage in bhakti to the Supreme Lord. Because so we can see that bhakti is a natural condition of the soul. The Lord is so attractive, his qualities are so attractive that they attract everyone, even those who are liberated. So Lord Chaitanya is explaining this Atmaram verse in so many different ways. And Atma here, Prabhupada is saying that the Vishwa Prakash Sanskrit dictionary also is referring to Atma, which could mean Brahman, absolute truth, body, mind, endeavor, endurance, intelligence, and personal habits.
The word Munaya refers to those who are thoughtful, those who are grave and silent, ascetics, the persistent, mendicants, sages, and saints. The word Nirgrantha conveys these ideas. One who is liberated from the nescience, one who has no connection with scriptural injunction, that is, who is freed from the obligation of the rules and regulations mentioned in the revealed scriptures like ethics, Vedas, philosophy, psychology, and metaphysics. In other words, the fools, illiterate, urchins, etc., who have no connection with regulative principles. a capitalist, and also one who is penniless.
So Nirgrantha, one who is no more in ignorance, who's liberated from nations, and who is liberated from nations. So he has no ignorance anymore. Or one who is does not have to follow, who has no connection with scriptural injunction, means who's freed from the obligation of the Vedas. So who's freed from the obligation of the Vedas are the fools, illiterates, urchins, etc., who have no obligation to study the Vedas. One who is a capitalist and one who is penniless. So these are the different meanings to the different words.
According to the Sabdakosha dictionary, the affix ni is used in the sense of certainty, counting, building, and forbiddance, and the word grantha is used in the sense of wealth, thesis, vocabulary, etc. The word urukrama means the one whose activities are glorious. Krama means step. The word urukrama specifically indicates the Lord's incarnation as Vamana, who covered the whole universe by immeasurable steps. Lord Vishnu is powerful and his activities are so glorious that he has created the spiritual world by his internal potency and the material world by his external potency. By his all-pervading features, he is everywhere present as the supreme truth. And in his personal feature, he is always present in his transcendental abode of Golok Vrindavan, where he displays his transcendental pastimes in all variegatedness. His activities cannot be compared to anyone else's, and therefore the word Urukrama is just applicable to him only.
Urukrama, whose activities are glorious. One whose activities are glorious, and that is the Supreme Lord. So dear Prabhupada is explaining Urukrama can mean only used for the Supreme Lord. Also, it specifically indicates his incarnation as Vamandev, because Krama means step. So one who took such glorious steps, by 2 steps of land, he covered everything, the hells, the hellish planets, the earthly planets, the heavenly planets. Such a great step. I mean, how much can we cover with our 1-2 steps? I mean, how much measurement can we cover? But the Lord, he covered the entire universes by his step. So the Lord Vishnu, he's very powerful. He's the one who has created the spiritual world. He creates the spiritual world by what potency?
Internal potency.
Internal. And the material world by?
External potency.
Yeah. By his external potency. And he's everywhere. He's all-pervading. What are his all-pervading features? His Paramatma feature. His Brahma Jyoti. He's everywhere. Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence coming from his body. It's his feature. Paramatma is his expansion by which he's everywhere. And personally, he is in Golok Vrindavan, engaging in all these leelas, these beautiful transcendental pastimes. So many activities, and his activities cannot be compared to anyone else. We can see Lord Krishna, he came few days old, he's killing Putana demon, and so many demons he killed, lifting Govardhan Parvat. As Vamandev, 2 steps of land, he's covering the universe. So his activities cannot be compared. And so that's why Urukram can be only applied to him.
According to Sanskrit verbal arrangement, Kurvanti refers to doing things for someone else. Therefore, it means that the Atmaramas render devotional service unto the Lord, not for personal interest, but for the pleasure of the Lord, Urukrama. Hetu
So
means
I'm sorry, I'll just say one thing. So devotional service is engaged for the pleasure of Krishna, hearing and chanting for the pleasure of Krishna. Worshipping the deity for Krishna's pleasure. Service begins by the tongue. So chanting the holy name for Krishna's pleasure, hearing Bhagavatam for Krishna's pleasure.
Hetu means causal. There are many causes for one's sense satisfaction, and they can be chiefly classified as material enjoyment, mystic powers, and liberation, which are generally desired by progressive persons. As far as material enjoyments are concerned, they are innumerable, and the materialists are eager to increase them more and more because they are under the illusory energy. There is no end to the list of material enjoyments, nor can anyone in the material universe have all of them. As far as the mystic powers are concerned, they are eight in all, such as to become the minutest in the form, to become weightless, to have anything one desires, to lord it to over the material nature, to control other living beings, to throw earthly globes in outer space, etc. These mystic powers are mentioned in Bhagavatam. The forms of liberation are five in number.
Hetu, causal. So Prabhupada is explaining cause for one's sense satisfaction. What are the different ways that we feel satisfied? So some is material enjoyment. We are all seeking material enjoyment. We want to engage our senses. I want to go here, experience this. I want to see this. I want to eat this. I want to hear this. Our sense enjoyment. So many sense enjoyment. And they're becoming more and more different varieties of enjoyment is coming. But it's not possible for us to have all these enjoyments. But anyway, we do try our best to enjoy in different varieties of ways. And then mystic powers, the Ashta Siddhi, becoming very big, becoming very small, weightless. You can float in the air. Prapti, you can get something from anywhere. You can pick up an object, control material nature, control other living beings. All these are mystic powers. And then liberation also is cause of satisfaction. Liberation, 5 types of liberation. Like merging into the effulgence of the Lord. Actually, the devotees don't even count that as liberation. So anyway, that's Sayujya. Then Salokya, living on the same planet as the Lord, having the same bodily features as the Lord, having the same opulence as the Lord, and having proximity, being in close proximity with the Lord. So these 5 types of liberation, the causes of satisfaction, different personalities engage in different of these things to feel satisfied.
Therefore, unalloyed devotion means service to the Lord without desire for the above mentioned personal benefits. And the powerful personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, can be fully satisfied by such unalloyed devotees, free from all sorts of desires for personal benefit.
So unalloyed devotion, what does it mean? That only for the pleasure of Krishna. There is no desire for personal satisfaction. Because here above what we read is all the different ways we are trying to satisfy ourselves through sense enjoyment, through getting mystic powers, or through the 5 different types of liberation. Or I'm going to be happy if I'm going to do that. But the pure devotee, what does he want? He wants to only please Krishna. And this is how he's able to satisfy Krishna. Because his only desire is to please Krishna. He's not looking at his own satisfaction. Just like, the the mother, the baby is just born, and the mother is just seeing how I can satisfy the baby. She's not looking at her personally anything about herself. Or what can I do to please my baby? So it's like just some kind of semblance that we can have. Prabhupada would say, just some kind of idea what we can have, that the love that the devotee has for Krishna, his only desire is how I can please Krishna. So there is no desire for his own personal satisfaction. But we can understand that when one engages in pure devotional service, that is what actually truly satisfies us. The mother, she's serving the child, but she is feeling happy. She's feeling the love. She's feeling the bliss. We can see when we serve others, we feel happy. There's a sense of contentment, sense of happiness when we can serve someone. So the pure devotee, he's feeling the bliss. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Susukham kartam abhyayam. Devotional service is joyfully performed. So it's not that the devotee is suffering himself and he's trying to please Krishna. No, he's pleasing Krishna, and the pleasure Krishna is feeling, Krishna allows the devotee also to feel that pleasure. So it's a pleasurable relationship between both the pure devotee and Krishna.
Unalloyed devotional service of the Lord progresses in different stages. Practice of devotional service in the material field is of 81 different qualities, and above such activities is the transcendental practice of devotional service, which is one and is called sadhana bhakti. When unalloyed practice of sadhana bhakti is matured into transcendental love for the Lord, the transcendental loving service of the Lord begins gradually, developing into 9 progressive stages of loving service under the headings of attachment, love, affection, feelings, affinity, adherence, following, ecstasy, and intense feelings of separation.
So it's like a gradual progression. You can see it's gradually progresses. There are different stages. So one begins devotional service, one may not begin right from the platform of pure devotional service. There may be material desires still there. And these are 81 different qualities of devotional service. And then above that, Prabhupada is saying is sadhana bhakti, following the rules and regulations. And when one does sadhana bhakti, then it matures into love for God. So one may begin with so many desires. One may begin by engaging in devotional service because one is required to do it. It's like an order. So one does it for that. There is no personal attachment to it. But gradually, it develops. It develops into love for God. And then love for God also, it becomes more and more sweeter. Gets more and more like how when you cook milk, it gets more and more condensed. It gets more and more sweeter, more condensed, more creamy. Even the sugarcane juice, the more you cook it, gets more and more sweeter. So attachment, love, affection, feelings, affinity, adherence, following, ecstasy, and intense feelings of separation.
The attachment of an inactive devotee develops up to the stage of transcendental love of God. Attachment of an active servitor develops up to the stage of adherence, and that for a friendly devotee develops up to the stage of following. And the same is also the case for the parental devotees. Devotees in conjugal love develop ecstasy up to the stage of intense feelings of separation. These are some of the features of unalloyed devotional service of the Lord.
So the five rasas that a soul can have, each of us has a relationship with God in any of these five rasas. Neutrality, that's called inactive devotee, means he has love for God, he has attachment. So that's the first one. He's not yet begun his service, but he has love, he understands God as the supreme person, and he's achieved this love. As one progresses, then one begins to serve the Lord. Then one see attachment of as an active servitor. So as one begins to serve the Lord, it gets sweeter to adherence. Then as one continues to serve the Lord, or one's rasa is as a friend, so that is the stage of following, and the same is for one who is in the stage of parental affection, vatsalya ras. Vatsalya ras, who have this loving relationship with Krishna, that they want to take care of Krishna, that he's a baby, and they want to take care of him, or as a friend, that, oh, Krishna is my friend. And then the devotees who have this loving mood, that Krishna is my lover, their feelings develop unto the stage of intense feeling of separation, as we see in the case of the gopis. The gopis, how much they have such this feelings of separation, and it's giving them the highest pleasure, ecstasy. In the material world, this separation is cause of distress, but in the spiritual world is cause of highest ecstasy. They're feeling so much love. So depending on the ras of the devotee, their feelings, their emotions for Krishna, that is being said.
According to Hari Bhakti Sudhoidaya, the import of the word itham bhuta is complete bliss. Transcendental bliss in the realization of impersonal Brahman becomes comparable to the scanty water contained in the pit made by a cow's hoof. It is nothing compared with the ocean of bliss of the vision of the personality of Godhead. The personal form of Lord Sri Krishna is so attractive that it comprehends all attraction, all bliss, and all taste rasas. These attractions are so strong that no one wants to exchange them for material enjoyment, mystic powers, and liberation. There is no need of logical arguments in support of this statement. Hare Krishna, anyone wants to continue reading?
We are almost time up though.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, yeah. Okay, but out of one's own nature, one becomes attracted by the qualities of Lord Sri Krishna. We must know for certain that the qualities of the Lord have nothing to do with the mundane qualities. All of them are full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. There are innumerable qualities of the Lord, and one is attracted by one quality, while another is attracted by another.
So the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya is saying, Itham Bhuta, complete bliss. Complete bliss. So we are hearing, okay, material enjoyment, we have some sort of sense enjoyment. Mystic powers, we have some sort of enjoyment. But what about this bliss? Now, bliss, once one understands I'm not the body, I'm the soul, one experiences bliss, because no more of this material misery is there, and one is naturally feeling the happiness. That's the bliss of the impersonal Brahman, understanding I'm the soul. So, but this kind of bliss, how is it compared? That there is a cow, and the cow makes a hoof print, in the sand becomes a hoof print of the cow. Inside this hoof print, you put some water. So that is the quantity of happiness one feels when one understands I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But when one has this personal relationship with Krishna. When one engages in pure devotional service, the happiness one feels is like an unending ocean, unlimited ocean. So, how much water is there in a hoof print of a cow compared to the water in an ocean? Can't compare, right? There's so much water in the ocean. So, similarly, the bliss of the Brahman is just like this tiny bit of water, whereas the bliss of being with Krishna, of having a loving relationship with him, it is so much. It's like an ocean of unending bliss. And once one gets that, then one will not give it up for anything, give them any kind of material enjoyment, give them any kind of mystic power, any kind of liberation. One will not exchange for it. Because see, if you're getting like a big treasury, like you have $1 million, why would you care for $10? Something like that. It's like very crude example. But here the devotees are feeling so much happiness in his relationship with Krishna, his attachment to Krishna. He's able to see Krishna, he's able to relish. So then he's not at all attracted to material enjoyment or to get any kind of these siddhis or even any kind of liberation. So the qualities of Krishna, the devotee is so attracted by the qualities of Krishna that he does not want anything else. Now, Krishna's qualities are not material, they are spiritual. They are Sat Chit Ananda. And like this, Krishna has innumerable qualities, and some devotee may have particular attraction for his one quality, whereas another devotee may be particularly attracted to another quality. Because Krishna is after all, Rasaraj. Of all the rasas, he is the king. He enjoys all sorts of rasas. It's called Rasaraj, Ras Bihari. So, but Krishna, all his qualities are transcendental, not material.
Great sages such as the four bachelor devotees, Sanaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara, were attracted by the fragrance of flowers and tulsi leaves, anointed with the pulp of sandalwood, offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, Sukadev Goswami was attracted by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Sukadev Goswami was already situated in the liberated stage, yet he was attracted by the pastimes of the Lord. This proves that the quality of his pastimes has nothing to do with the material affinity. Similarly, the young cowherd damsels were attracted by the bodily features of the Lord, and Rukmini was attracted by hearing about the glories of the Lord. Lord Krishna attracts even the mind of the goddess of fortune. He attracts in special cases the minds of all young girls. He attracts the minds of elderly ladies by parental affection. He attracts the minds of the males in the humors of servitude and friendship.
So, how Krishna is attracting to different personalities. His features are so attractive. Different features are attracting others. Like the four Kumaras, they were Brahmavadis. They were Brahman realized, understanding God to be the supreme Brahman. But when they smelt the tulsi leaves, the fragrance of the tulsi leaves and tulsi flowers, which were coming from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, they became devotees. They became so attractive. They became devotees of the Lord. Sukadev Goswami, he was also Brahman realized. He was understanding, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. He's self-realized. But he heard Bhagavatam. He heard Bhagavatam and he was so attracted by the pastimes of the Lord. Pastimes of the Lord are transcendental. Sukadev Goswami was already liberated. So we can see that Bhagavatam is relished even by those who are self-realized. The Krishna's pastimes are not material, they're transcendental. So the gopis, they were attracted by Krishna's beautiful features. Rukmani, she got attracted to, so the gopis were looking at Krishna, they were enjoying his beauty, they were appreciating his beauty. The more they saw him, the more attracted they got to him. Rukmani, she got attracted to Krishna by hearing about him, by hearing about his glories. Narad Muni would come and speak about Krishna, and that's how Rukmani got attracted to him. And when goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, wants to associate with Krishna, she hears about Krishna and she wants to be with Krishna. So Krishna attracts the minds of the young girls. He attracts the mind of the elderly ladies as a parental. You know, the elderly ladies, they want to protect Krishna, feed him, cook for him, or he's like our child. And the males, he attracts their heart, that they want to serve him, they want to be friends with him. So these are the different rasas that one has with Krishna. I think, is this the last part? Oh, the last 3 paragraphs. Do you all want to finish it or you all want to stop here?
I think we can finish.
Finish. Okay.
Yeah. The word Hari conveys various meanings, but the chief import of the word is that he, the Lord, vanquishes everything inauspicious and takes away the mind of the devotee by awarding pure transcendental love. By remembering the Lord in acute distress, one can be free from all varieties of misery and anxieties. Gradually, the Lord vanquishes all obstacles on the path of the devotional service of a pure devotee, and the result of 9 devotional activities, such as hearing and chanting, becomes manifested.
So Hari Krishna, when he's Hari, he takes away. What does he take away? He takes away all the inauspicious things, all the obstacles in our path of devotional service. He takes away all our miseries, takes all our sins, takes away all our distress by remembering Krishna. And he gives us what? His own pure love.
By his personal features and transcendental attributes, the Lord attracts all psychological activities of a pure devotee, such as the attractive power of Lord Krishna. The attraction is so powerful that a pure devotee never hankers for any one of the 4 principles of religion. These are the attractive features of the transcendental attributes of the Lord. And adding to this the words api and cha, one can increase the imports unlimitedly. According to Sanskrit grammar, there are 7 synonyms for the word api.
So Krishna is so beautiful. Krishna's pastimes are so wonderful. Krishna's qualities are so amazing that he completely attracts the heart of a pure devotee. And then the pure devotee, because he's so attracted by Krishna, he does not want anything else, nothing to do with dharma, artha, kama, moksha. He doesn't want anything else. He's just so completely in love with Krishna. And Krishna is so attractive because of his amazing qualities, his glories, his pastimes, his beautiful features, that the devotee is completely in love with him.
So, by interpreting each and every word of this sloka, one can see unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna that attracts the mind of a pure devotee.
So this is how Lord Chaitanya was explaining the Atmanam verse, that Krishna is so attractive that he attracts everyone, attracts the mind of the pure devotee. Any comments, questions?
No, all good.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, actually, it's not comment. Like how systematically they decided, like Vedas and Puranas, Like maybe in Kali Yuga, nobody is going to read this much. So they precise it in Bhagavatam, right? And then Prabhupada is translated it into like a common language. We can say like the language who can reach to most of the part of world. Like so, matlab, they really want to serve something very special or want to sustain this world with the glory and we can say like purity of Krishna and what exactly Krishna is. They want to serve this knowledge to everyone in the world. So they transform in transform it like from Vedas, Puranas to Bhagavatam and some essence in Caitaniya Caritamita. Like it is very systematic. Like they are so intelligent and they really know the people in Kali Yuga. So
Yes,
it's really very
that's
good.
right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That's why we read earlier, no, that why Vyasadeva wrote the
Mm.
Bhagavatam, because
Yes,
he had
yes,
written,
that's why I'm saying, yeah.
yeah, he wrote all the Vedas, he had written Puranas, he had written Mahabharata, he had written
Wow,
so much,
so
but
much,
yet he
yes.
was feeling not satisfied. So
Mm,
Narad Muni, his guru, came to him and told him, because you didn't glorify Krishna directly, you didn't
mm,
make one literature which glorifies the Supreme Lord, which can actually give bliss to everyone, which
mm.
can, by which one can engage in bhakti, give rise to love for Krishna. And that's how he wrote Bhagavatam in his maturity. Yes, thank you so much.
And Prabhupada ji is really did very, very, very much great work. Like not only in India, all over the world. Like people know what is Bhagavatam for. So
Oh,
such में मतलब
yes,
yeah.
it's true. Otherwise, how would we know Bhagavatam? Yes,
Nobody
It's
knows.
all
Nobody knows.
Prabhupada's
Yes.
mercy. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. How would we read Bhagavatam in a language that we can
Yes. Yes.
understand otherwise? Yes, so
Because
true. Thank
संस्कृत
you.
तो सब लोग नहीं पढ़ पाता ना. संस्कृत is really very tough language.
That's
Even
right.
it is very good, but सब लोग नहीं pronounce कर पाते हैं तो
So
भी मैं
true.
सोच रही थी कि मतलब रियली दे आर वेरी ग्रेट और वो हमारे अंदर के चीज को मतलब इस वर्ल्ड को वो जानते थे फ्रॉम द प्रायर लाइक अब पब्लिक ऐसा होने वाला है सो दे विल fond of this type of thing, they will attract this type of thing, they are not going to read like this type of literature or like holy books, so they transform it. So ये really बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है हमारे क्या बोलेंगे उसको really very great, very great.
Yes, so nice. Yes, thank you. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.